The Last of Us is a masterpiece. Whether it is due to its incredible storytelling, well-crafted gameplay, beautiful soundtrack, or talented voice acting, there is no denying that the talented teams at Naughty Dog have created something more than just a video game. They have created an experience that can't be missed. The Last of Us takes place 20 years from today in a post-apocalyptic world destroyed by a very real cordyceps fungus. But this post-apocalyptic world isn't the focus of the story. It's the relationship between Joel and Ellie, two survivors who are on a journey across a destroyed United States. Joel, the character you play as, is a ruthless survivor who has very few moral lines left to cross, while Ellie is a 14-year-old girl who has never lived a day in her life without the infected. Over the course of the game, the two grow a bond that over time will pull at your heartstrings. The Last of Us's moments have just personally hit me in a way no game ever has before, with reminders of just how lucky we are in today's world. The characters we meet in The Last of Us are strong, lovable characters we grow with quickly, especially the two protagonists. Joel may be the playable character, but Ellie is just as important, if not more important than Joel. Ellie steals the show. One of the greatest things about her is her lack of knowledge of the world we once knew. Being born years after the infection began and growing up in such a harsh environment has not only made her tough, but desensitized to everything happening around her. Well, mostly. Ellie's questions about Joel's past and the world before the apocalypse is some of the best dialogue in the game, especially when they stumble upon things like an ice cream truck or a boat. But enough about Joel and Ellie. Some of the other survivors have just as great roles. Without spoiling some surprises, some of the other survivors include Tess, a tough badass who is as capable as Joel, if not more so, and Bill, a friend of Joel's who's helped him with smuggling things into the quarantine zone. These characters are all well done and help the wonderful story of The Last of Us, along with an impressive script from Neil Druckmann. The campaign can last you up to 15 plus hours depending on your playstyle, and is fully replayable through a chapter select option. The ending, without spoiling anything, was a very bold move from Naughty Dog, who trusted themselves to make an ending that fit the game and personally has me very happy. They made an ending that guaranteed debates, and there were debates. Now, just from the story perspective, The Last of Us is an incredible form of media and has beaten any and all expectations. Expectations that most other forms of media like books and movies could only wish to achieve. The gameplay of The Last of Us is all about survival. As you explore this dark and gritty world, you will need the supplies, the weapons, the ammo, and the wits to survive against the hunters and the infected. Whenever you're not in an intense battle or sneaking past clickers, you're most likely exploring the environment and looking for any materials you can. It could be extra ammo, it could be supplements, or it could be things like alcohol blades or sugar, which can be used to craft items like molotovs, shivs, health packs, or a smoke bomb. The crafting system is very well done in this game and is quite simple. If you have enough blades and binding, you can either upgrade your melee weapon or make a shiv which can be used to unlock certain doors or quickly take out an enemy. The best thing about the crafting is that it's all done in real time, so you have to make sure the coast is clear before crafting something or going through your bag. During shootouts or any kind of battle against enemies, things can get intense. You have a very limited amount of bullets to use, so you must think smart and make your shots count. Although not every battle has to be taken loudly, you can simply take everyone out with stealth or just sneak past everyone altogether. But when you pull the trigger, things get heavy and fast. The AI is amazing in this game. There were actually times when the AI snuck around me and killed me before I could even get one shot in. The AI may not be perfect, with friendly AI and enemy AI almost invisible to each other, but it's very well done and adds to the intensity. Joel also has the ability to upgrade his weapons and himself. With supplements found in the environment, he can improve his strengths like listen mode, crafting speed, and maximum health, while finding parts will upgrade his weapons. Neither of these can be maxed out in one playthrough, but can be maxed out in New Game Plus. The Last of Us looks and sounds amazing. The Last of Us is arguably the best looking console game to date, while the sound is key in the game and is very well done. Every room you enter and every corner you pass has incredible detail. Every house you enter has environmental storytelling attached to it, so even if you fail to find the hidden diary or notes in the room, you can tell what happened just by looking at your surroundings. Although the game in general looks fantastic graphically, there are some places that look better than others, but these environments look absolutely beautiful and almost photorealistic. Naughty Dog has mastered the PlayStation 3 hardware 110%. It makes you think just what's possible from Naughty Dog on the PlayStation 4. But of course, The Last of Us is more than just pretty graphics. The cutscenes look stellar, and even better than those of the Uncharted games. Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson were absolutely nailed the part of Joel and Ellie, and are such amazing actors. Although the voice acting is great, it's the emotion that comes out of them that just bring these characters to life more than any other video game.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
The sound is also very important in The Last of Us, and I'm not talking about listen mode. The sound is very good in this game and makes the beautiful environment even more believable. Every punch sounds hard, every smashed brick sounds painful, and every footstep tells danger is coming, especially when the soundtrack is rarely ever played. The soundtrack is beautiful, intense, and breathtaking. It is cleverly only played at the right moments, and when it does play, it's just stunning. It helps create this wonderful and horrible world of The Last of Us. The Last of Us comes with a decent amount of replayability for the campaign. The Last of Us' story is good enough to just want to play it over and over just to experience it again, but if you like progress, there is plenty to do. During the many chapters, you have numerous artifacts, comics, training manuals, and Firefly pendants to find. If the short but difficult trophy list isn't enough for you, you can try and complete the list of tags, pretty much the medal system from Uncharted. Completing tags will earn you in-game money, which can then be used to buy things like concept art and new skins for Joel and Ellie. You can try the challenging Survivor or Survivor Plus difficulty after beating the game the first time around, or try having all conversations in the game. All this will take you quite some time, but if you're still thirsty for The Last of Us, there's even more. The Last of Us also comes with a competitive multiplayer, and despite the disappointing amount of game modes, it is a fun and addicting multiplayer that fully transfers the awesome survival feel from the campaign into the online scene, and best of all, it's balanced. If you think the campaign has some intense battles, the multiplayer will surprise the hell out of you. Just like in the single player, you have your supplies and can craft items in real time and use them with your limited ammo to kill the enemy players. The first team to lose their 20 lives loses. There are only 2 game modes, normal 4 vs 4 and 4 vs 4 with only 1 life each round, known as survivors. It's disappointing the lack of game modes, but each one of them is fun as hell and kinda makes up for it. And like in Uncharted, there are plenty of loadouts and customizable options. Now the leveling up system is a little bit different from your typical multiplayer game. You choose to be a hunter or a firefly and then enter a challenge where your survivors have to last 12 weeks, each match be lasting 1 day. And your performance will determine how many supplies you get to keep your survivors alive through the weeks. Every now and then your survivors will get attacked and you have to do certain things to keep the number of fatalities as low as possible. Overall, the multiplayer is very fun and balanced, but doesn't have the strongest lasting appeal. The Last of Us is a masterpiece. This strong story about Joel and Ellie has so much emotion and not only beat expectations, but skyrocketed way past them. The Last of Us is the finest game of this generation, hands down, and shows that Naughty Dog is the studio who just dominates the market. If you could only play one game from this generation, I would absolutely recommend The Last of Us. Thanks for watching, I'm Mega Gamer, and for more reviews or my playthrough of The Last of Us, check out my channel now. Alright, you've seen my review for The Last of Us, but it's time for the spoiler talk. If you wish not to be spoiled the game, it's heavily advised you might want to leave the video now, but for those who finished the game or don't mind the spoilers, welcome. The opening to The Last of Us was a memorable one. You play as Sarah, Joel's daughter, and with almost no warning are thrown into the action. Sarah's death was not exactly unexpected, but it was more shocking at just how real it felt, and the fact that she was shot by a soldier, not chomped by an infected. It's clear that this was one factor that contributed to Joel's decision at the end of the game. Also, little things like Joel looking at his watch from time to time, a reference to Sarah, is quite touching and tells so much more of the story by little actions. One thing that was strange to me was that they never really mentioned what the infection was in-game. I feel that casual players who just pick up the game with no previous knowledge of it would find it more interesting knowing the real-world science behind the game and its cordyceps fungus. There are also sections in the game where you play as Ellie. These sections are timed perfectly and you only play as Ellie when it feels right. After Joel and Ellie escape the university, you don't know Joel's fate or whether he is alive or not. Playing as Ellie directly after this scene really creates the question, what happened to Joel? And the following storyline during the winter section and playing as Ellie for most of it was pure genius. It also says something that you play as Ellie at the end and kinda smart since you start the game as Sarah and end it as Ellie. The ending has caused many debates and arguments, which was probably the goal of the game's ending anyway. My personal look on the ending is mostly happy. Joel saves Ellie from the Fireflies, not seeing much point in saving an already ruined humanity, and the two live with Tommy. Although Joel lies to Ellie, Ellie is aware of this but doesn't mind, because it was an act that showed Joel didn't want to leave Ellie. Ellie accepts the lie because she knows she won't end up alone, her biggest fear. The two will be with a nice community full of kids and nice people. Ellie can watch a movie for the first time thanks to the electricity, and the two can live happily ever after with Tommy because the lie doesn't matter. Maybe Joel could teach Ellie finally how to swim by the dam. That's my take on the ending. But it was one scene that truly got me to fall in love with The Last of Us. A scene near the end that reminded you of beauty after hours of horror and dark themes that just did it for me. After the terrifying and intense winter portion of the game, Joel and Ellie have finally made it to Salt Lake City. Ellie is speechless and you feel kinda sad because she just isn't herself today. But then she sees the giraffes and you just stand there as long as you want just watching this beautiful scene. And then realize it isn't nature that was destroyed, it was humanity that has fallen apart. This moment was the definitive moment when I decided to give The Last of Us a perfect 10 out of 10 score.